Have you ever asked yourself, why do I keep struggling with the same thing? I think it's a pretty common question for the human condition, and especially for us as believers, as we are being transformed more into Christ's likeness. We still struggle with areas of sin. Now, it's God who does the transforming work in us. And we're talking today about how to approach those recurring struggles where you're like, I just messed up here again. I can't believe I still fell into that trap that has plagued me before. That's what we're talking about today because it's a common struggle that I hear about. I've been thinking about sin and the way that it entangles us. In Hebrews, it's described as something that ensnares and entangles us as we're exhorted to run the race with perseverance. I think we all have areas where sin can trip us up. But the problem that I've found is that most of us think that the issue is our behavior. Oh man, I did that thing. I said things I shouldn't have said. That's a misunderstanding about the transformation that God actually wants to do in us. Because God is not after our behavior modification, right? God transforms our hearts, and then that flows into our habits. And so most of the behavior problems are actually revealing deeper issues: fear, trust, confusion about our identity, old wounds that are still painful to us, things that we desire that are not actually good for us. God often wants to address the root when we're obsessing over the fruit. These sticking areas of sin, they reveal roots that need to be uprooted. I want to read for us a passage from Matthew 15. Jesus is confronting the teachers of the law, the Pharisees and the scribes. And he's saying, you are elevating human tradition to be equal or more important than what God commands, God's instruction. And he connects this to an outward action that doesn't have an inward connection to God. Well did Isaiah prophesy of you when he said, this people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. God doesn't just want different behavior. He wants to free our hearts. And this is something that I didn't know about him for a lot of my years as a believer. As an early Christian, I thought God mostly wanted my behavior modification. I thought it was a way of proving to him that I was grateful for him saving me. And so most of my effort was focused on the external actions. I didn't know to look at the root indicators of what this external action means is going on in my heart. And when I would mess up, especially when I would mess up publicly, I felt like I disappointed everyone because I wasn't living up to God's expectation. When I think about I need to follow through on God's expectation for me, that puts me in a worker mentality. That puts me in a works-based perspective. God has this expectation and I better do my job. Instead of, God empowers, God transforms, God equips, God renews. And so if I'm struggling to live according to his instruction, it's not this expectation, do better. It's an invitation, even within that recognition of what else does God want to heal in me? Where do I need God to renew and restore? Because this is good. This is life overflowing. This is abundance that he offers me, and I'm struggling to receive that. Why? And how can I receive more of that from him? It's not up to us to transform ourselves. We get to partner with God as he does the transforming work in our lives. And so we get to come to him with our hearts and say, Lord, I want to walk in what you have for me. I'm bringing my heart to you. I'm yielding my heart to you. The instruction, the correction that Jesus is giving in this passage is saying, hey, God doesn't just want lip service. He's not just looking for the external. He wants your hearts to be for him, toward him. Draw near to him with your whole self, with your whole heart. And so that requires a yielding of our wills to His, right? That requires trust. That requires transformation and confession and repentance and accountability. And those are all good things that God will empower you to do. And so, my encouragement for you is the next time you feel stuck in an area of sin, maybe it's a repeat habit, maybe it's just a tough circumstance, and you're recognizing, man, my heart posture or my attitude is not what I want it to be. I'm coming to this and I'm holding on to anger, or I don't want to forgive, or I'm becoming embittered. Instead of looking at that response, the fruit, and saying, okay, how can I stop this? Take a look at the root and ask a different question. What is this revealing about what I believe, fear, or desire? What does this show is going on in me? What does God want to do about it? And so then you can come to God with the whole problem, not just the part that's showing itself, but the deeper issues, and partner with Him as He brings His transformation and His healing to you. This reminds me of a story that came from a time of doing outreach ministry many, many years ago. We're going along, giving out free food, meeting up with homeless people, and prayerfully looking for opportunities to share the gospel with them. And so my teammate and I walk up to a man and offer him a bag lunch. And he says, I don't need food today, but I've heard you before and I'm ready. I want Jesus to be in my heart, which just elated us, right? And so this gentleman starts praying, and he prayed to God with the same language that he uses every day, which included a lot of profanity. Best as I could tell, it was sincere and heartfelt and genuine. And I share this story from time to time because if you've been in the church for any amount of time, that can feel as if it didn't count. You can't come to the Lord that way, as if God didn't already know what was going on in this man's heart. And I shared it one time when I was teaching at an event, and a woman came up to me afterward and she said, oh, I love that story. That's so great. So when he was done praying, did you explain to him how he shouldn't use those words anymore? He needs to clean up his language. And I was like, no, I didn't. The thing he doesn't need to do first is clean up his language to be more palatable to those people who are around him. Sometimes we feel like the most important thing we need to do for God is to clean up the outside, but that is never the most important thing. And so if you're here today and you're watching this video and you're like, man, I think I focus too much on changing my outsides, I invite you to come and get to know Him in a greater way, because there's areas of healing and truth that God wants to bring to you in that misunderstanding about Him. And then oftentimes, as God is doing this transforming work in us, and we're starting to walk with this freedom and with grace, we can start to wonder, okay, well, what is my role here exactly then? We don't want to become super passive, and we don't want to fall into striving. But what we actually get to do is partner with God, where He does His part and we do ours. And knowing how to do that practically in day-to-day life is what we're talking about in the very next video.